Good afternoon. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro, Texas. It is February 21st, 2023. It's 5:32 p.m. We call this meeting to order.
Good afternoon, establishment of quorum. I'll be taking roll call. Andrew Arroyos,
Here.
Enrique Cisneros, absent. David Estrada. Julie Dominguez.
Here.
We have quorum with 3 commissioners present. Moving on to item number 3, notice to the public, open forum. Lisbeth, do we have anyone that would like to speak? Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion made by David Estrada to approve, and seconded by Julie Dominguez. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to item number 5, public hearing request for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 9, Block 1, Clint Venture Commercial Subdivision Unit 6, located at 2585 Darrington Road, Socorro, Texas, and Lot 8, Block 1, Clint Venture Commercial Subdivision Unit 5, located at 2595 Darrington Road, Socorro, Texas, from unclassified to C2 General Commercial, and approving a conditional use permit to allow a trucking parking. Mr. Arroyos?
We open public hearing at 5:34. We don't have anybody? So we'll close public hearing at 5:35.
Thank you. Item number 6, consider and take action on the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 9, Block 1, Clint Venture Commercial Subdivision Unit 6, located at 2585 Darrington Road, Socorro, Texas, and Lot 8, Block 1, Clint Venture Commercial Subdivision Unit 5, located at 2595 Darrington, Socorro Road, Darrington Road, Socorro, I apologize, Texas, from unclassified to C2 General Commercial, and approving a conditional use permit to allow a trucking parking. Mr. Botello?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. My name is Jose Botello with the Planning and Zoning Department here at the City of Socorro. Item number 6 on the agenda is the rezoning request and conditional use permit at 2585 and 2595 Darrington Road. So the summary of the request is for approval of rezoning from unclassified to C2 with a conditional use permit for commercial truck parking. Some background on this rezoning: it is currently unclassified. The total lot or total area is 2 acres. The address again is 2585 and 2595 Darrington Road. It is currently vacant. The proposed land use would be C2, which is general commercial. And the request is to approve rezoning from unclassified to C2 with a conditional use permit to allow for a commercial truck parking. The planning and zoning staff does recommend approval. So this is a location map. The rezoning is located north of I-10 in Socorro city limits. You can see the purple line, which is outlining the boundary of the City of Socorro. And then this is a zoning map. One of the properties to the left is currently a C2, which the rezoning complies, through the adjacencies. following are pictures of the property. Once again, the property is currently vacant. And an aerial image. The next slide is the public notice. We did not receive any public comments for the notice to rezone. And once again, the summary of the request is for approval of a rezoning from unclassified to C2 with a conditional use permit for commercial truck parking. And would there be any questions, Mr. Chair?
I don't have any questions.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to approve, second by Julie Dominguez. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item number 7, public hearing request for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Block 15, Friedman Estate, Unit 2, Lot 11, 1966 Fleetwood, HT 10 by 58, serial number WF 6V55135, located at 367 Odaka Way, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow for a multifamily development. Mr. Arroyos?
Good afternoon. We open public hearing at 5:39.
Ms. Susana Dominguez? Can you please state your name?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Susana Dominguez, and I have a property there on Hodaka Way. And we have a couple of neighbors here that live on that same area, and we're not in agreement that this zoning change take place. Can I go on? Okay, first of all, that part of Socorro, like all Socorro, you know, we have lacking a lot of streets, sidewalks, potholes everywhere. That is one of the biggest streets around that area that requires a lot of work. And if this were to happen, I believe one of my neighbors told me that there's planning to do a quadruplex there, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that's the information that you all have or not. But that property in itself, as far as the space, I don't know how they would fit 4, apartments in there. But the traffic that would have there, so many people in one lot, the streets, they need a lot of work, more cars there. And another thing is property taxes, I'm not a property, person that knows a lot of it, but I do have properties elsewhere, and I know that when I've gone to protest my properties, they go with whatever's around the area. So if there's a high value property around the area, they usually try to go with that amount. So a lot of the people on that area and that street are retired older couples, okay, which their income is very low. And if, let's say, something would happen to the property taxes where they would be raised, that would hurt them a lot, because some of them are on a basic Social Security income. Others, well, we have a job right now, but it would affect a lot of people in that area, because my parents have been there for, I don't know, over 35 years, okay, and all the neighbors they're known to each other, and most of them are retired. So those are some of the things that I think would affect a lot of people.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Marcial Dominguez, would you like to speak? Anyone that would like to speak? Please state your name.
Buenas tardes,
Buenas
Buenas
tardes, ¿sí
tardes.
nos puede dejar saber su nombre?
mi nombre es Ramón Lara y quiero dar mi opinión referente al cambio de zona que quieren hacer en el lote de la 367 Jodaca. Nosotros tenemos viviendo ahí más de 40 años y somos una comunidad que nos conocemos. Entonces lo que tengo yo es que el que compró ese terreno pretende construir apartamentos. Entonces, pues a nosotros, que ya tenemos tanto tiempo ahí, nos conocemos toda la comunidad, dejamos la puerta de nuestros corrales abiertos y no nos hemos molestado por 40 años. Y con una construcción así, no sabemos qué es lo que va a pasar, porque viene gente de todas partes y pues no sabemos. Entonces, por eso es la razón que nosotros queremos, a ver si ustedes, por favor, tratan de pensar y ayudarnos a que no se lleve a cabo.
Muy bien, gracias.
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 ¿Alguien más que quisiera hablar? Please state your name.
Good evening. My name is Maribel Lara. I live in the area around the corner from where my parents live. They live right in front of where these establishments are going to be built. And I come over to their house very often. And to me, one of the concerns is a safety concern because of my children that they play in front of the area, and if this is to be built, there's going to be traffic. The space is very limited for apartments to be built, and there's going to be numerous families there. And also, like my father said, the community they're all retired. We all know each other. So when these apartments come in, there's going to be renters of all ages. We don't know their backgrounds. We don't know what, crimes might come in, how it's going to affect us. So one of my main reasons is safety concerns and limited spacing, parking spacing, and the traffic. That's all I wanted to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak? ¿Alguien más que quisiera dar un comentario? Por favor, de decir su nombre.
Ana Maria Garcia. I live next door to Mr. Lara, and I have the same concerns as he does regarding multiple families moving in. But one of the concerns that I have mostly is if the property taxes go up. I'm a single mother. I have a 2-year-old, and I take care of my mom. She's 76 years old, so I can only work part-time. And that would create an economic burden on me as far as, if the taxes go up. So, and besides, the fact that if the traffic, like they said, it's a very low traffic area right now, but, if multifamilies come in, well, it's, like they said, the street is very reduced. It's a short street. So to me, it would seem like it would be a little overcrowded.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak? Mr. Arroyos?
Mr. Chair, Carlos Gainat for the record. The applicant is here and would like to speak. Would you like for him to speak now or after the presentation from staff?
He can go in and speak right now if he
Okay.
wants, and
is Gabriel Gonzalez.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, and well, first of all, I have a presentation to clarify what the project might look like. Again, to clarify everyone's doubts, there's going to be a multi-story apartment complex, quadruplex, and all that. Right now, as you can see, the main idea is going to be 6 apartments located on the 367 Hodaka Way, but actually it's not going to be 6. Those are just conceptual drawings, architectural drawings, but it's going to be just for 4 apartments. So it's going to be, in a way, it's going to be a quadruplex. I have hearing a lot of complaints, for example, about the traffic, which one of the things that I know, because we have done, we hire a firm, an architectural firm, to do all these case studies about the traffic and all that. To bring 4 apartments into the area is not going to change dramatically the traffic coming in, coming out of the area. Another thing that I have listening to the neighbors, that is going to, they're scared. I do understand their point, that they don't know who's going to be living in these apartments. But obviously, as any other apartment complex, there's a process for you. We're not gonna go and admit anyone that wants to live there. There's a process, there's a background check, there's even some apartment complexes, they do have like a credit history process. So they have a strong idea who's gonna be living there. As you can see here, everything was designed and everything was created, taking into consideration the current situation of the area. There's going to be a ponding area, which is not gonna be affecting the neighbors next to it. There's going to be enough parking spaces within, the limits of the property. That we're not going to be parking, or they're not going to be parking outside the area of 367 Hodaka Way. As you can see, everything was taken into consideration: landscaping, ponding area, parking spaces, the square footage of each building, because there are going to be 2 apartment buildings on that area. Again, this project was designed and created by an architectural firm, which they know what they're doing, which again, that's why we went ahead and hired professionals. They're going to showing us, right now it's showing again elevation, showing 3 different, 3-story building, but due to the area of the lot, we're going to go and reduce it into 2. So it's going to be a total of 4 apartments, not 6. But as you can see on the elevations, it's showing everything that is under code. Everything is going to be done the right way. We're not going to be doing the things the way we want it or anything like that. Everything is going to be looking like that. This project, I believe, this project is going to create an opportunity for the area to make it look aesthetically different from any other parts of the city of Socorro. Not only that, another concern that I heard about, property taxes is, the property taxes are gonna increase and all that. But I don't know if you're aware, but there's a new complex of new homes less than 5 minutes away. So I mean, I'm not saying that, I'm gonna bring new problems. The problem is already, I'm not gonna say problem, because I see it more as a progress than a problem. Again, here's another layout, another aspect, how the vehicles are going to be entering the property.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Your 3 minutes are up. Mr. Chairman, should we give him, would you like to extend his?
I think you can go ahead and close it up. I think for the most part, on the presentation, it'll cover all that stuff again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Arroyos?
Oh, okay. Anybody else?
Sí, buenas tardes. ¿Sí nos da su nombre?
Mi nombre es Luz Elena Ortiz y nosotros vivimos en la Fábila Road, cerca de donde el señor piensa hacer sus apartamentos. Sabe de que yo ya estoy grande y pues tengo nietos. A mí vienen y me visitan mis hijas, traen los niños. Mis niños salen afuera porque es un área muy tranquila. Entonces los niños salen, niños de 5, menos de 10 años. Si llegara a pasar esto, que se pongan estos apartamentos, va a haber jóvenes y de todo, tipo de personas, ¿verdad? Que a lo mejor no van a tener la precaución o de ir despacio. Son áreas muy reducidas allí. Yo creo que ustedes pues obviamente ya han visto ahí cómo está. Son áreas muy reducidas y los niños no van a tener cuidado de ver. Ahí donde yo vivo me caben 2 carros nomás enfrente, estacionados. No sé cómo el señor dice que pueda caber hasta más carros, no sé. Pues, ellos me imagino que ya planearon todo, pero en mi propiedad afuera me caben 2 carros. Si imaginas si llegaran a rentar o a tener más propiedades ahí, no creo, sería muy difícil que cupieran más carros y aparte no tendrían la precaución de cuidar niños menores. Eso pienso yo y me preocupa mucho que llegue a haber un accidente por mis nietos, o sea, como es un área tranquila, vienen y me visitan y andan afuera jugando y todo. Yo sé que no está bien que los deje, pero a veces es imposible estar al pendiente de ellos y de repente salen, andan allí. Me preocuparía mucho eso, ¿verdad? Y pues aquí todos en esa área nos conocemos, somos muy tranquilos, nos cuidamos y todo. Si vienen otras personas de fuera, no sabemos qué tipo de personas sean porque ya somos mayores, va a haber gente joven y arrebatada, no sé, ¿verdad? Entonces, ojalá y nos pudieran ayudar con eso y pudieran observar que son áreas pues pequeñas para tanto apartamento.
Gracias.
Gracias y con permiso.
Gracias.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Something I forgot to mention, this project, yes, it will be a new project, but it will not be a new project for the community and to the neighbors. There's an apartment complex on basically the following street. Same area and everything.
On the what?
There's basically the same type of project on the following street.
Oh.
So it's not a new project for the community. That's my point, like, okay, why everyone is so concerned if it's not new in reality. Y ahí está, y hay gente viviendo en esa esquina, literal, you cross the street, you can walk in 2 minutes and get to that apartment complex right there, an existing apartment complex. So I'm just asking for the same opportunity as them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
¿Alguien más?
We'll go ahead and start with the presentation. I think, for the most part, I think if you already spoke, we'll go ahead and continue.
Well, the thing about it is
Um,
he's saying stuff that we need to address. And if you're not gonna give us a chance, then what is it?
Yes, ma'am. Every speaker has a 3-minute period to speak. If you already spoke, those 3 minutes are up.
He was giving a second chance. Right now, he was giving a second chance.
And we just want to address the apartments he's talking about. Those apartments are
Ma'am.
on the side,
Mr. Chairman?
Ma'am,
the side corner, sir.
okay, we're going to give you just one last thing to say. If you can come up to the podium, please, and then we'll...
We apologize, but the apartments that he's referring to, there are some apartments, but those apartments are built on a corner lot. There's plenty of room there because it's a corner lot and there's nothing, because the apartments that he wants to build are between houses, in front of the houses, between homes. Those apartments that he's referring to are on a side curb. So there's plenty of space, and there's no concerns or anything because there's plenty of parking there, and it's set on a corner lot.
Okay.
We just wanted to make sure that you all know. Yes, it's not new to us, but the concern that we have is that his apartments are going to be in the middle of homes, of houses, where our kids play, and it's going to cause a lot of safety concerns and traffic concerns.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and move on. You have everybody, I think, for the most part, have said, I think you spoke, right, ma'am, ahorita también, and, okay, and you, sir, also. So we're going to go ahead and, if there's nobody new, we're going to go ahead and move on to the presentation of it. And
We're
there's
closing
nobody
at
else. So we will close public hearing at 5:58.
Moving on to item number 8, consider and take action on the proposed amendment to the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Block 15, Friedman Estate, Unit 2, Lot 11, 1966, Fleetwood, HT, 10 by 58, serial number WF 6755135, located at 367 Odaka Way, Socorro, Texas, from R1 single family residential to R2 medium density residential to allow for a multifamily development. Mr. Botello?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Once again, my name is Jose Botello with the Planning and Zoning Department here at the City of Socorro. Item number 8 on the agenda is the rezoning of 367 Hodaka Way. The summary of the request is for approval of rezoning of property from R1 to R2 to allow a multifamily residential development. And some background on this rezoning: it is currently R1. The size of the property is 10,625 square feet. The address is 367 Hodaka Way. Currently, the land is vacant. The proposed land use is an R2, which is medium density residential. And the request, once again, is to approve the rezoning from R1 to R2 to allow for a multifamily residential development. Planning and zoning staff recommends approval of the rezoning request with a condition to approve the site plan with 4 units max, which is the max density allowed for his property. Here's the location map. The location is close to Passmore Road. The zoning map, and you'll see that there is an R2 within the vicinity as well as an R3 lot. These are some of the property pictures showing that the property is currently vacant. And an aerial image showing that an existing structure used to exist in the property. The public notice, as you guys are present, there was some opposition to the rezoning. This is the current site plan that the applicant provided to us. It does show that there is ponding, as he stated, in the rear of the property. The 2 gray areas are the building's footprints, and there is adequate parking for the apartment, for the buildings, as well as some landscaping. And so, moving forward, these are some of the signed petitions that we received, as well as a signed letter received yesterday opposing for the rezoning. To conclude, the summary of the request is to recommend approval of the rezoning with a condition to approve the site plan with the 4 units max density, which is what is the maximum allowed of units he can have for his property. Mr. Chair and Commissioners, if you have any questions.
Just to be clear, it's 2 buildings and it's 2 units per building, right?
Yes, sir, correct.
And everything falls within ordinance, so have the correct setbacks, I'm assuming.
Yes, sir. Everything was verified, and the design does comply with our ordinances, and the parking spaces are adequate. Everything checks out.
Mr. Chair, if I may just add to the presentation of Mr. Botello. So a couple of things, right? And I think you've heard us talk about this. So we evaluate the case when it comes in. The first item, is it compatible with the surrounding land uses? So we go from, we recognize it's a residential neighborhood, so there's no doubt about that. And so the proposed rezoning is still residential, right? You're going from single-family residential to apartments or duplexes, which is with the R2. So again, we check off that box. There's some compatibility. The second thing that we look at is the site plan, right? So the applicant proposes a site plan, does everything fit? It's drawn to scale, there's plenty of parking, there's plenty of landscaping that he's proposing. The other thing too that we look at is if it's incongruent with the character of the neighborhood. And so this is a neighborhood that has a different types of housing. So you have some mobile homes, you have some single family, you do have some apartments, as the gentleman mentioned. So it's a mixture of different things, right? So him introducing a quadruplex, in our estimation, is not, I know that residents may disagree, and that's okay, but it's not, we're not introducing an element that's so far-fetched that it wouldn't fit in with the character of the neighborhood, because the character of the neighborhood is so different from parcel to parcel. So again, we look at these things when we do our recommendation. The other thing too, the residents' concern about traffic. 4 units is not a lot of units, right? I mean, again, I sympathize with the residents, and in their mind, they may think, oh, it's a lot of people moving in here when we talk about apartments, but a quadruplex is not introducing a lot of traffic into the neighborhood. Finally, in terms of traffic, this is a neighborhood that has many vacant parcels, right? So when somebody designed the neighborhood 50, 60 years ago, I'm not sure when, but a long time ago, they designed the streets to be able to carry the capacity of the number of lots that there are there. And so in terms of traffic, we could say that it's almost underutilized. The streets are underutilized in terms of traffic because there are many vacant parcels in that neighborhood that aren't contributing to the traffic concerns that people may have. So again, just wanted to share that with you in terms of how we viewed it, in terms of giving our recommendation. One final thing, I don't know, and maybe Marwan may correct me here, but I don't know that you can take the issue of taxes going up into consideration, right? This is a strictly land use zoning perspective. There are many reasons why taxes go up. There are many policies that you have no purview over in terms of taxes going up, right? I don't know that that's one item that you could say, hey, we're gonna deny this because we feel that taxes are gonna go up. I mean, then in that case, then don't have any improvements anywhere in Socorro, right? Because then taxes go up. But again, I don't know that that's within your purview in terms of how you make the decision moving forward in terms of whether you recommend denial or approval.
Yeah, to add what Mr. Galinar mentioned on the property taxes is, I heard the neighbors' concerns, but yes, I mean, you as a property owner also have the right to develop your own property. So even if it wasn't a multifamily structure, if it was just a home, you could build $1 million home on the property if you want to. And if it increases other people's values, I mean, it does have an impact, but you have the right to build on your own property. So that's just separate and apart from the rezoning that's in front of the commission. But yeah, Mr. Galinar was correct on that. So.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, thank you.
Mr. Estrada?
I do have one.
Ms. Dominguez? Miss,
Ma'am,
this is, we're gonna have the comments from our commissioners, ma'am. Okay. Ms. Dominguez?
Yes, thank you. I just want to clarify to the residents about the taxes. You hit the nail on the head when you brought up the taxes. I just want to assure them that it's not because of this property that their taxes are going to go drastically high. I want to make it crystal clear for them to understand that. So if anybody does have any ways to just tell them, I think that's a lack of communication if they go home tonight and not knowing that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but houses are compared with other houses, correct? In this case, it's the apartments compared to other apartments.
Right, yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you what the exact formula is on how, but central appraisal, even Socorro, I believe this last fall did increase the property tax rate. It's a very slight incremental amount. But those things, they go up on their own in different years depending on the economy and whether the cities increase them, if the hospital district increases it. So there's all sorts of reasons. And then one of them could be, the surrounding development changes. One of the things I think is also the property values also go up anyway. So if somebody benefits from their property being worth more and they sell it for more, that goes into the equation too. So I don't think it's just one thing, but yes, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily just one exact thing that changes it.
Right, okay, great.
Mr. Estrada?
Okay, I have some questions for staff. And just, I guess I just need clarification on some stuff. The maximum allowed on R2 is 4 units?
Yes, we, our ordinances have a limit of 15 units per acre, so broken down to the square footage that the property has, we came up with the equation that 4 units are adequate for the size of the.
With the size of this unit.
property.
So it's 15 units per acre.
Yes, sir.
So breaking down that math
Mhm.
and putting it on the size of this lot, the maximum number of units is 4.
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay, can you put the subdivision, the slide with the subdivision showing the other lots that have been rezoned? Okay, which one is the R2 zoning?
The R2 is the orange, and then the R3 is a darker orange.
The dark orange, so that R3 is a single family right there, I'm assuming, right? A single family home?
It's a higher density, yes, sir, but it's no longer within our ordinances.
I believe that, Mr. Estrada, I believe those are the apartments.
The
The R3 are the apartments.
The R3 are the apartments?
Correct, yes, sir.
How is, okay, so apartments are allowed under R3?
Yes, correct.
They-
It's a
they-
higher density.
It's a higher
I
density
believe it's
in
30
R3.
units to the acre.
Okay, how many units on that parcel?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so I guess that's something I'd like to know, on how many units on that particular parcel. And then the one on the lower left, on my left over here, the light orange one, what zoning is that?
That would be an R2,
An
which is what the
R2.
gentleman is.
Okay, is there a duplex on there as well, or what's on there?
To be, quite honest, I'm not too sure on the conditions.
Yeah, there's a duplex.
There's a duplex there, and then apartments on the other one. Okay, do you know how many total lots in the subdivision right now? Like how many?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, what about the number of vacant lots? Okay, so I guess where I'm going is that we will certainly be setting precedent, I guess, for future. Because all these other vacant lots, they all seem to be 10,000 square feet, or roughly, right? They're all the similar size, and so if we allow one quadruplex, other quadruplexes in the future might, we already have one. So the other thing I'm looking at is, I'd like to know how many lots are in the subdivision, because if only 2 out of 100 lots have been rezoned, I take that into consideration, because the majority of this neighborhood is single family. This would be the 3rd out of how many lots is what I'd like to know, like the total number of lots, and then how many vacant lots. Okay. The referenced apartments. The referenced apartments, we don't know how many units are there, right? What year were they built, more or less? How old are they?
You know what,
Okay, so when 40 years old, see, so my question is, how many units, how many apartments on that lot? When was it rezoned? Was it grandfathered in? Why is it an R3? What was the original zoning on the subdivision? Was it all R1 and then somewhere along the line it became R3? Are they 40 years old? I don't know. How many apartments? I don't know. What is zoning? R3? What year? Okay. The other thing I'm considering is that there's 33 people that signed the petition that they put up there, Sonara. Okay, so I'm looking at all that. I think it's a no. I realize the density is allowed, the 4 units, right? Up to 4 units, but I do have an issue with the 4 units. I'm not opposed to a duplex. And the other part I'm looking at is that the majority of that subdivision is single family, and that we'd be opening up, you know, and if that's what we want, which I don't know if that's what we want, but it's just opening it up so that it becomes easier for the next owner to come in and rezone and do 4 units and so on. I understand also that you know, landowners want to take full advantage and put in as many apartments as possible. But I'm also seeing that 33 people came in to sign up, which is very rare. So,
Mr. Estrada, so
Yes.
just based on CAD information, Central Appraisal District, there seems to be 4 apartments in that development. They were built in 1987, and they're about 1,000 square foot each.
1,000 square foot each?
Yes, sir.
4 apartments, 1987. Okay.
And the property,
Any history on the rezoning, anything?
we
you
don't
can
have that on our records. I mean, we'd have to dig up through closets and,
Yeah.
but you would assume that it was probably maybe grandfathered, I'm just guessing, right? I mean, if it was built in 1987,
It's a long time
zoning
ago.
doesn't get here till 90s or so.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's just me guessing.
Okay.
Any other questions, Mr. Estrada?
No. I'm good.
Do I have a motion?
You know that, I would like to make a motion to approve only because they fall within the ordinances. They are not, you know, building something that's, I really don't think it's gonna have a major impact on that neighborhood. I know the neighborhood pretty well, so I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And I think just to clarify, the motion is made to approve with the staff
Oh,
recommendations?
Sorry, yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to approve with staff recommendations.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to approve, second by Julie Dominguez with staff recommendations to approve the site plan with 4 units max density. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
Any abstain? Motion carried. Moving on to item.
Yadira, if I may, real quick, and for the residents, it still has to go to city council. It probably in about a month or so, 4 to 6 weeks, so just know that this is not the final decision. You could still make your appeal to city council. Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Moving on to item number 9, discussion and action on the definition of main structure and regarding accessory structure. Mr. Gallinar?
Yes, ma'am, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Carlos Gainar, good evening. This is the item that I believe it was Mr. Estrada that asked us to put on the agenda. A couple of things. This is an item, we want to propose language. It still has to go to city council. It has not been vetted by our attorneys, but we have wanted to put it on the agenda, recognizing that it's a draft and that if there's any recommendations on the language, that we would include it and then send it over to Mr. Bhatti to review, and then, as you know, would have to be amended by city council. But essentially what's in front of you, so what we did is that, as you remember, this is the case that we had the accessory structure here, the very large one. Staff had recommended denial. The gentleman had wanted to be at 71, 72%. The commission, I believe, had really great questions, really great insight about structures and, you know, the size of the lot and what we allow, don't allow. And so this is our stab at, this is our stab at taking a look at the language in its totality. And so what we did is not only looked at the definition of structure, but there's, you know, if you look at the whole, what we have currently, there's some gaps missing. So what's in front of you is essentially what we took the opportunity to not only look at the structure, but clarify the accessory structure ordinance as a whole. And so what's in front of you, I'm not sure if you've had a chance to review, but the first page, this one, so we are There are already definitions in the code. And so what Mr. Botello did is reviewed the definitions and modified it a little bit. So essentially what we are proposing is that we eliminate the current definition of accessory building, and then that we replace it with accessory structure. And that is so if you approve it, it would mean accessory structure means a detached subordinate building or other structure, the use of which is clearly incidental to or customarily found in connection with and located on the same lot as the main building or principal use of land, excluding a garage. Only one accessory structure shall be allowed per lot. So again, there was also the issue of how many accessory structures can we allow. There's no definition, so we're making sure that only one accessory structure would be allowed per lot. The other definitions are residential garage, because the way that the definition for garage today is for a commercial automobile garage, like a mechanic shop. It doesn't speak to a residential garage, so we're adding that definition. And then we're adding the definition of principal structure, which means any one or two family dwelling or townhouse or portion thereof used or intended to be used for human habitation, for living, sleeping, cooking, or eating purposes, or any combination thereof. And then this is where this is our staff recommendation. Carports, porches, or covered patios do not count as part of the principal structure, right? Because you could have the principal structure that's the home. We all know what a principal structure is. We feel that if you include the carports or the garage, then there's a loophole there that can, you could have a carport that's as big as a principal structure, right? You can, 1,000 square foot carport and a 800 square foot home, right? So now you're increasing the principal structure square footage to 1,800. And so what we're saying, again, we recognize that when we brought the issue to you, the definition was not clear, which again, great point by the commission. We are now making clear that the principal structure does not include the carports, front porches.
So it'd just be living area?
Exactly, just the living area. And then the second page of the amendment, so can you move the presentation forward, please? So then what we're doing is, remember, the accessory structures are only allowed in R1 and R2. The language in black is what currently is there. The language in red is what we are deleting. And then the language in blue is what we're adding. And so right now, the only two items under accessory structure are A and B. So we're clarifying A to read as follows: no accessory structure shall abut any property line and must have a minimum 5-foot setback from the rear or side property. So again, if you read the definition currently, it's a little weird, it doesn't make sense. So we're just cleaning it up a little bit to it so that again, the very clear thing is you can't put it on the lot line, and it has to be 5 feet from the rear or the side. Number two, we're leaving as again, our recommendation is that it should be 50 square feet, 50% of the square footage. So number two, we're leaving it intact. And then number three is we're adding only one accessory structure shall be permitted per lot and must be located in the rear yard, because that also hasn't been clear. So if you want the accessory structure, essentially what this is in summary, accessory structure cannot be on your lot line. It has to be 5 feet setback. It has to be 50% of the principal structure, and you could only put one per lot, and it has to be in your backyard, is essentially what this reads. And so this is for the R1, and then the bottom one is for the R2. And so that is what we would propose to you to review. Any comments, suggestions, we will wrap it up, clean it up, give it to Marwan to review, and then it would go up to City Council. And Mr. Chair, happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so on that page right there?
Yes, sir.
I guess the C, item C, way at the bottom. Only one accessory structural shall be permitted per lot. The one thing that comes to mind, I guess, is what about 1 acre lots? What about 10,000 square foot lots? 5 acre lots? And so, can we include language that says, for example, one structure per every 10,000 square feet, for example. And so here's where I'm getting at. There's parcels out there that are like 1 acre lots,
Yeah.
you know, and so limiting those lots to one structure is, it's, you know, it's limiting. People, I guess, who choose to live on larger parcels want to have, you know, the detached garage,
Yeah.
maybe the tool shed, you know, just a couple of different things that qualify as structures. And so I think we can maybe we can do something on there to where we can broaden it with larger lots. That certainly a 5,000 square foot lot, you know, one structure.
Yes.
10,000 square foot lot, because we have a lot of 10,000 square foot lots. You know, maybe we can decide that, but anything larger, maybe increase it. And I don't know, what do you guys think on that? I just don't know how to
I agree with you.
how to put that in writing on here.
I think that's a good idea. We could take a look at it, Mr. Star. The only caveat, or the only thing that I would say is, you should put a limit on it, right? So if you say one structure for every 10,000 square feet, and you own a 1 acre lot, an acre is 43,560 square feet, you're essentially permitting for, yes,
yeah.
right? And after a while, you sort of say, well, even just me saying 4 seems like a lot
Yeah.
on a 1 acre lot. If you have a 2 acre lot, 8. If you have a 3 acre lot, 10. And I'm not saying people,
Yeah.
first of all, you have to be able to afford it and be able to want to do it. Not saying that all of a sudden you're going to have ADUs or accessory structures all over, but if somebody did want to do 10 or in your, you know, whatever that case may be, they would be allowed. So I think that's a great idea. We actually discussed it, Jose and I. Happy to take a look at it, but maybe just cap it. Maybe there's a number, again, maybe no more than 3, regardless of. So maybe the language could be
Yeah.
on lots over an acre, no more than 3 accessory structures shall be allowed. Something like that.
Okay.
You know?
I think maybe also to add, Carlos, is that, you know, if there may need to be a limit on the total size of the accessory structure, because let's say somebody has a 10,000 square foot home somehow on a huge, well, they could build a 5,000, you know, square foot accessory structure. And if you could build more, and it's really the size of the home. So
Yes,
they
that's
could
right.
build multiple homes. So you may just want to have an out of bounds that, okay, you know, 50% of the square footage of principal structure, but in no event shall it exceed X amount of square feet
Total?
total
Yeah.
on the accessory structure.
Like 50, like if you have two, like for, in your example, 10,000 square foot home, right? So
Yeah.
You're allowed 50% of that. So you can have maybe 2 of them, but not to exceed the 50%.
That's right.
Not to exceed, you can have 3
Okay.
structures, for example, 2 structures not to exceed 50% of the living area.
That's right.
Is that 50% combined, like it would be 25 and 25, or 50% each one of the additional?
No, combined.
Oh, okay.
Combined, yeah, total, if let's say it's a 1 acre lot and you're allowed 2 structures, 3 structures. the
How about
cumulative square footage on that?
Okay, but then what if you still have, so what if you have a, again, it's all hypothetical here, right? So let's say you have a 5 acre lot and a 2,000 square foot home.
1,000, yeah, that's.
You know what I'm saying? So then you're only limited to, out of the 3, 1,500 square feet, 1,250 square foot homes, right, or accessory structure. Let us take a look at it. I think it's a great recommendation, Mr. Saab. We also looked at it. We weren't exactly sure how to deal with it, but I think we do need to cap it at a certain number, right? You can't just because you have a larger lot, you shouldn't allow different structures. And then maybe look at the square footage, Marwan, in terms of what that might look like.
Yeah, and then, you know, something on the language too, because I'm looking at, and this is very quickly looking at it, but the principal structure does say that it's fit for human habitation or living there. Accessory structures like a detached garage. If you remember that the gentleman that had come here, was it like a 3 or 4 bay?
3.
3 bay garage?
3 or 4 bay, yeah.
Because I think when the accessory structure starts to get bigger, it's almost, you can live in it.
Yes, that's
And
right.
then you're gonna get into the problem of it starts to look like other zones, because it could look like a duplex or a triplex, you know.
Yeah.
So we're gonna probably have to tweak it. It's just something I thought I'd throw out there.
Yeah. But we'll take a look at that language, and then if there are any other recommendations, we could take a look at it. We'll draft it all and put it all together in addition to what we just drafted, and then have Marwan review it. and then bring it back before it goes to city council.
Chairman, may I?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Dominguez?
I just wanted to say that, especially that Socorro's, a lot of properties are agricultural.
Yeah.
So we have to consider that if people have animals in the back or anything, or barns, we have to take that into consideration as well.
On larger parcels, yeah.
Right, on large parcels.
And so this is only, and we'll have to review it, but I believe that accessory structures are only allowed in R1 and R2. I think there's some provision in agricultural where you are allowed other structures that are incidental to your farming, agricultural land, like different, but don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure. And my internet's not working, but we could also review that.
Okay.
Okay.
Moving on to item number 10, Planning and Zoning Commissioners Report.
I don't have anything. Mr. Estrada, Ms. Dominguez?
No, thank you.
Thank you. I'm moving on to item number 11, Planning and Zoning Department Report.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, as you know, this is my last P&Z. I do want to introduce Lorene Quimito, who would be my replacement. She has been hired now as the planning director. I'll be here till next Tuesday, but please know that I'm not going anywhere in the area, so if I could be of service to you in any way or any capacity, please count on me. Again, thank you for your service. Thank you for the last year and a half. I was talking to Lorene this afternoon, and we talk about planning and zoning commissions and city councils because that's the line of work that we're in. And I told her that this is a really great P&Z. You guys, for the most part, get along. For the most part, you are, in it to do the right thing. You ask great questions. There's been other instances where I've been really amazed by this P&Z and your character and your demeanor and the way that you treated me and the way that you've treated staff. So thank you for that. And Lorene, also great qualifications from El Paso, over 20 years planning experience, has worked with the city of El Paso, MPO, just finished coming from Odessa, MIT graduate, master's degree. So believe me, you're going to be fine. You're going to be great. But with that, thank you again. And moving forward, you'll see Lorene and Jose, and the staff is still here. And so again, just wanted to say thank you to all of you for your service and the way that you've treated me over the past year and a half.
Thank you, Mr. Reina.
Yes, sir.
We'll miss you too.
Yes, definitely. Wishing you the best.
Moving on to item number 12, consider and take action on the adjournment of this meeting. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyo to adjourn, second by Julie Dominguez. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 6:31. Thank you and have a good night.